Middle of the summer, the tumor was larger and more aggressive than doctors initially thought. That meant 6 chemotherapy treatments during the season. Her final treatment was last Friday. All of this coming in a year in which she won her 600th match. And on the night that came, the community raised more than $22,000 to help with her medical expenses. You won't find anyone in South Florida that is as universally respected as Terry Kaiser.
No, it actually puts tears in my eyes because I just know how much these girls love their coach and how many lives she's touched, how many girls continue, that you never leave this sport. It's a sport where you always come back, and we talked about that earlier, and she's just got such depth to her program that she has built. She's built up in the club community. She's just very well respected, and has done such a phenomenal job.
Runs the Palm Beach Juniors Club, and there's a couple other programs from that part of the state that will be here tomorrow, Jensen Beach and Jupiter. Members of both of those programs are here supporting Terry today. Jupiter coach Blaine Betts, in fact, canceled practice today so that a couple of his players could come up and cheer on Coach Kaiser and Lake Worth Christian. You just don't hear about that anymore. The day before a team is going to play for a state title, a coach recognizing that there's something a lot more important than getting another 90 minutes of work in.
And that gives me chills too, because you just know this sport is something, these girls play year round, so they play against each other sometimes in high school and high school tournaments, and then come together and play for other coaches in the club, and such a respect and love of the game and love of each other.
Third set starts with a double contact whistled against Yomari's Villegas. Now, even at one between these teams, what will you be looking for to determine a winner here the last couple of sets?
It's going to be which team's going to really execute and stay stable and just keep playing that steady, clean game, because both are equally going for the ball. We have equal power on both sides, and a smart play like that, you'd never want to get beat by a tip. That's a hard play, so that you've got to get right out of it. St. John's got to come out of that play and go right on to the next one.
It's the third time we've seen Maddie Anderson find the open area in that left front position for a point. And there is another violation whistled against Villegas. And one of the things that you often hear from coaches is that it gets called a lot tighter here at the state tournament than it does at any other point during the season.
Yep, it certainly does. So you've really got to be playing your best volleyball, and you can see these girls are all wanting it. But right now, Lake Worth getting momentum. St. John's coming back now with that touch off the block right there.
One initially given to the defenders, but overturned by Jeremy Wiggins, the up official. 3-1. Shed goes to Tanone, stuffed right back in her face. Able to pop it up, and Anderson didn't leave her feet, but recorded a kill.
Right, she didn't. You're right, Austin. She stayed on the ground and hit that ball very hard, like it was a down ball. Impressive.
Pump set from Villegas. Thomas has to adjust from the back row. Again, the passing has been so precise from Lake Worth Christian. A much shorter team, but staying in it because of their outstanding defense. There's another example from Tanone. Cassie Anderson with an attack error.
Wilcox is just such a steady force on that outside. She just has stayed consistent throughout these games. She's really that consistent, steady force for her team, so they keep feeding her the ball.
Wilcox is blocked, and it's out. Close play there at the net. Mike Connolly with the call. And rally scoring hard to pull away. Looked like Lake Worth Christian had a lot of momentum, a couple of points. So does St. John Lutheran, and now with the attack error, we're even at 4. Nice and high for Morgan Shed. And Cassie Anderson pounds it off the hands of Thomas.
Powerful approach by Cassie Anderson right there on the outside.
moving around. Can't get it down against Lampman.
Back row attack.
Attack
She jumped.
over the 10-foot line. In the back row. Can't step on that line or over it to attack a ball. Tanone commits the mistake. Aggressive jump serve there from Wilcox. There's Kaylee Thomas right off the head of Morgan Shedd. Lost her glasses. Thomas came alive in that second set. 6 kills, no errors.
She is really coming alive. You can see her arm getting up high. She's turning the ball and finding those deep corners. Thomas is really rising up right now in the game. You can see her level of play improving.
Maddie Anderson with the answer. Anderson had 7 kills in the first set, only 3 in the second.
Great
Another
save there.
save by Lampman. It's just been all over the court.
She's a very incredible libero.
Easily handles the free ball. It's one of the longer rallies of the match. Great play by Thomas to pop that one up and over. Both teams scrambling on these out-of-system plays. And it's down for the 8th grader, Sarah Franklin.
What a rally, for both teams. What a great effort. You know, just an impressive rally. The ball kept going, and then there we go with perfect set in the middle. Down ball.
3rd kill for Franklin. Lake Worth Christian inches in front, 7-6.
You can hear Coach Kaiser saying, you know, calm down to her players. Just, you know, get back behind the line and take your time when you get back there, because there's a lot of emotion. We're point for point right here.
What a swing by Cassie Anderson. The best attack we've seen from her.
That was on the right side. She really got up high and came around the ball to take it down to the cross court. Real sharp right there near the line.
You can tell that those two have been well coached, well schooled on how to approach the ball.
I would like to know what goes on in their house. I think I need to find their parents and get some tips.
Defenders by 2 with Cassie Anderson behind the service line. Villegas goes over on 2, didn't have much other choice. Left-handed attack there from Wilcox. Nice adjustment.
What a great block, too, right there by Wilcox.
Anderson free balls it.
Kaylee Thomas.
Thomas right down in front of the 10-foot line. You don't see that very often.
She had 3 great plays throughout that rally. Not only the play right here where she's up and she puts the ball down, she had a block right before that, a single block.
A high toss on that jump serve. Seen both Wilcox and Thomas be a little bit more aggressive with their serving here in the 3rd set. Much more conservative approach from Sarah Franklin. Chaffin hammered it into the block. Wilcox tried the deep corner. Anderson able to pop it up, and it's free balled over by Tanone. Morgan Shedd, the setter. Won't often see her attack. Both teams hitting the floor, refusing to let the ball go down. It results in a point for St. John Lutheran.
That sharp angle is really difficult to defend because you've got a blocker up and you're trying to see the ball, but what a great shot. It just rolled right over the net. Tried to get a hand on it.
Malia Oliver gets an assist from the tape. Back set Tanone. Right down the line.
right down the line. Great approach there. Quick. I don't think that St. John was ready for that attack on the right side. They moved the ball around there and right down the line scores.
And Lake Worth Christian has to move the ball around. They just don't have that one player on the outside that you can feed. It's an interesting contrast between the makeup of the attack for these two teams.
You're right. I keep watching, and they're moving all over the place. They're everywhere. Sometimes they're in the front row and hitting from the backcourt. So it's an impressive, quick offense.
Anderson, for the 4th time, finds the open area left front. The poise of the freshman carrying the Lake Worth Christian offense.
Maddie Anderson, she's so high, she can see the hole, and she gets up there and puts it there. It's a very smart play.
Back to Anderson. Pounding it off the hands of Chaffin. Back-to-back kills for the freshman. A timeout for St. John Lutheran. And when you watch Anderson, she makes it look easy. But for people who are tuning in at home, give people a sense of just how difficult it is for someone at her age to have the ability to rise up, evaluate where the defenders are, and then make a decision about where the ball is going to go.
She is playing like an elite athlete plays volleyball. She is jumping up and using the block as an 8th grader. She's jumping up and putting the ball in spots. When most people, all you want to do is crank on the ball and hit it as hard as you can. That's kind of a young mentality. She does not have that. She's at a different level. She's just coming, and you can see her approach is quick, but she's all over it. She knew she had one blocker, and she hit off the top of the hand. She's not worried about hitting the blunt. She puts all of her power into it and turns her body. It's very technical and a very elite athletic volleyball move.
And because of the makeup of the Lake Worth Christian attack, not having players on the outside that you just continually feed the ball to, there's a lot more pressure on them defensively to be precise with their passing because they have to be versatile with who they can set in the front row.
Right, and they're always having to watch where she's going. So you can see they're watching where Anderson's moving. Okay, she's in the middle now. Where are we going to go now? So reading your opponent is number one. Both of these teams have done an excellent job reading each other.
There's no answer right now for Maddie Anderson. She's delivered 3 consecutive kills, and Lake Worth Christian has stretched the lead to 5.
This is what we saw in the first game. You know, she was on fire, and she's getting back on fire, and that momentum shift is happening right here. So St. John's going to have to get some points on the board here.
Tanone on the outside, the confidence starting to rise as Terry Kaiser delivers a fist pump from the Lake Worth Christian bench.
You can just feel the energy in here right now.
Back to Tanone. Wilcox unloads on that one right between Anderson and Tanone.
Beautiful set there by Villegas. Great. She pushed the ball all the way out to Wilcox, put it down in that deep corner for a kill, getting St. John back up closer to Lake Worth here.
Anderson takes the first contact, a rare outside swing. That may have been long. Wilcox opted to play it. Oliver back to Anderson in the middle. Great job by Kaylee Thomas. And Connolly calls it long. Back-to-back points for St. John Lutheran. 15-11 here in set 3. On the right side, Tanone. Low set. Anderson didn't have much choice but to shove that ball across. Lampman down the line, handling the attack from Wilcox.
Oh, wow, that was a great save there.
Still not over, it's Anderson. That time the tip did not work. Right toward Wilcox, and one-on-one with a block.
You could just see in Wilcox's face, she was not going to be tipped on, and she was going to get that ball down, and it was going to be her point. You could see it in her eyes, and a gutsy down the line shot.
Anderson got blocked by Chaffin. St. John Lutheran scrambling defensively. What a job. Chaffin and Wilcox. Anderson off the block and out. A point for Lake Worth Christian. How about the effort from the Saints defensively here these last couple rallies?
What a great effort by the Saints. She had a single block up. If that had been in, there it was all the way to the deep court. So
poor pass. Villegas given a little opportunity to get to that. Haven't seen many aces. Haven't seen many service errors. And a pretty clean game in that regard. Bump set in the middle. Wilcox with the tip. And it was the right decision.
Yep. You know, that tipping game is one that's going to be tough to read on either side because there's a blocker in front of you. So for the backcourt, they can't see. Just got to be ready for everything.
Lampman forced to take the second contact. Anderson hit it right into the block of Thomas. Fortunate that that ball stayed alive. Lampman doesn't typically set. She's whistled for a double contact violation. Well, the line judge is John Moffitt sees something on the floor. Pick that up. A piece of confetti from the 1A championship match.
Right, that's what it was.
In the middle, Anderson. And she's one-on-one. It's really not going to matter. Thomas was in the net anyway. Would have been a point for Lake Worth either way.
Yep, she came around the ball and was going to have that ball go down. She turns her hand right there to get it right on the line.
18-14. St. John Lutheran hasn't been able to get closer than 3.
That was a very smart play by Wilcox. She hit right over the top. She was coming down, so her timing was off, and you could see she knew, I'm going to hit over the top of her hand. And she scored the point.
Another great pass from Lampman. Cassie Anderson with a rip.
Powerhouse. In the net. That was a powerhouse hit. A lot of power on that ball. Turning her entire body all the way around, getting over that right side block.
Lake Worth Christian maintaining that working margin, not allowing St. John Lutheran to get closer than 3. Thomas with another annihilation on a set out of the middle.
Thomas and Wilcox have really stepped it up here in their attacks. They're just going one for one. You know, one of them's putting it down or the other one. A great approach there, great effort.
Defensive specialist Katie Rodriguez, a sophomore, is on to serve. Anderson cross court.
And there was a touch.
Down, yeah, touch is called from Mike Connolly, the line judge. An ace from the back row. And Jason Laborde will take his final timeout. Cassie Anderson with a kill and an ace. And it is once again a 5-point margin, 21-16. Bright House Networks is offering TV everywhere with our latest app, BHTV 3.0. Bright House Networks customers are able to view live stream television from up to 20 channels outside the home, including Bay News 9, News 13, and Bright House Sports Network. Now you can watch even more with access to video on demand. Download the app today on your iPad, iPhone, Android device, or Kindle Fire HD. It's hard to tell who's cheering for who.
The crowd's really gearing up. You can see the Saints crowd. I think there's somebody in blue and yellow all the way head to toe painted. And then you've got A great crowd here today.
Lots of blue and gold in a place that is normally reserved for black and gold. The venue at UCF, home to the Knights women's volleyball team. First time this facility has hosted the FHSAA volleyball finals. Good site for the state tournament. I know all the teams and coaches that we've talked to hope that they can find a place that will host both the finals and semifinals next year, so it's not just the 8 championship matches that are played over 2 days. Largest lead of the set for Lake Worth Christian, 22-16. Villegas with the set for Kaylee Thomas. With just 5'8", she is a powerful player.
She really is. She gets up very high. Her approach is fast too. She comes out of almost from the 10-foot line. You can see her approaching, and she puts it away.
Thomas was a setter and a right side last year. Moving her to middle and outside has provided a huge lift to this team offensively.
You can just see her focus in her eyes, and every time she gets back behind the line to serve or is at the net, she's focused.
An ace followed by an error.
Still serving aggressively, though. These girls are getting behind the line and serving for that ace, which is what you want to do at this level of play.
Villegas, long push out to the pin. Nice pass by Malia Oliver. Came off the net defensively. Really tough adjustment by Tanone.
Cross-court hit. She really...
A rare defensive mistake on what should have been a pretty easy pass for Lake Worth Christian defensively. That goes to show you just how much Lampman means. She's off the floor for one rotation.
She is really an experienced libero. She covers so much ground, and like you said, the liberos sometimes aren't talked about enough, but they cover a lot of area.
Andersons make all 3 contacts as it's free-balled over. Poor first pass from St. John Lutheran. Jason Laborde was upset after that first contact, but his team gets the point anyway. Tanone with an attack error. The Saints back within 3 at 23-20.
Right here, a pivotal point in the game, a pivotal point, these next few points.
During the timeout, we'll give you a listen on the St. John Lutheran huddle with Jason Laborde.
Okay, that's what you have to do right here. You got to do some soul searching. You got to dig deep. We've got to make sure at the net we're playing the hardest ball we've ever played. Seal the block, get in front of the hitters, touch it. Doesn't have to go down to the next side of the court. All we got to do is put the ball back up in the air. Put the ball in the air, defense steps in, passes the ball. Let's go.
Essentially reinforcing the focus of his team during that timeout.
He is. He's just telling him, to keep that net game really intense. Keep that block up. Keep playing hard at the net. Coach Laborde, very impressive in what he's done in such a short amount of time. Like we were talking about earlier, these girls look like they've played together, for quite a while, and their skill levels very, very good. So
a first ball kill for Lake Worth Christian out of the timeout off the right hand of Hannah Tanone, the crafty outside.
Right there on the right side, jumping up so high and getting that ball down.
Set point for the defenders. Leah Wilcox keeps her team in it. Villegas will go back to serve at 24-21.
Great job right there by Wilcox, turning her hand to the right, going straight down.